Most people think money and self-worth are separate things. You go to work, you earn a paycheck, you pay your bills. Simple. But here's what decades of psychological research keeps proving. They're not separate at all. Your relationship with money is a mirror. It reflects how you see yourself. And once you see that mirror clearly, you can't unsee it. Here's the promise for you today. By the end of this video, you're going to understand the 3 specific ways your self-worth controls your net worth. And the third one, most financial advisors never mention it, but it's the thing that separates people who struggle with money forever from those who actually break free. So grab some water. We're diving in. Let's start with the most obvious one, spending. When you don't feel worthy of real wealth, your spending habits betray you in ways you don't even notice. You're at dinner with friends. The check comes. Nobody's flinching, but inside, you're calculating, splitting it down to the penny. So you order water instead of the drink you wanted. You're not broke. You just convinced yourself you don't deserve to enjoy the evening the way everyone else is. Psychologist Dr. Brad Klontz studied this for years. He called it money scripts, unconscious beliefs about cash that drive your behavior. One of the biggest, the money worship script. These are people who earn well, but never have anything saved. They're chasing something, the next purchase, the next upgrade. They think happiness is one purchase away. It's never enough because the whole isn't in their wallet. It's in how they see themselves. Here's a real example. A guy named Marcus, I'll keep it vague, made $70,000 a year in his 20s, solid income. But every bonus, every tax refund, every raise, gone within 60 days. New phone, better apartment, dinner out 3 times a week. He wasn't building wealth. He was performing wealth, showing the world a version of himself he hoped was good enough. The irony? Nobody was buying it, and he was broke. The research backs this up. A 2020 study in the Journal of Consumer Research found that people with what they called low core self-worth spent 40% more on status goods than people with stable self-worth. 40%. It's not about income. It's about what you think you deserve. So that's the first connection. Your self-worth controls how you spend. Now, here's where it gets deeper. Point 2. And this one most people never see coming, is earning. Your sense of worth doesn't just show up in how you spend money. It shows up in how you make it. Think about the last time you didn't ask for a raise you deserved, or when you undercut yourself in a negotiation, or when you took the first offer instead of countering. Why did you do that? Most people say they didn't want to rock the boat. They didn't want to seem greedy. But the real reason buried underneath, they didn't believe they were worth more. Linda Babcock studied this phenomenon. She's a professor at Carnegie Mellon. She found that men negotiate their salaries 4 times more often than women. But here's what the follow-up research discovered. When women did negotiate, they were just as successful as men. The gap wasn't ability. The gap was permission. Women had been taught, consciously or not, that asking for more was pushy, uncomfortable, wrong. So they left money on the table. Thousands of dollars. Over a career, hundreds of thousands. This isn't just a gender thing. Studies show the same pattern with people from lower income backgrounds, first-generation professionals, anyone who's absorbed the message that wealth isn't for people like them. You don't ask for what you don't think you deserve. And it shows up in other ways too. People with low self-worth tend to pick safer career paths. They start businesses later, or never. They settle for good enough when they had the talent for great. They're not incapable. They're held back by an internal ceiling they built themselves, and they don't even know it's there. If this is clicking for you, hit subscribe. I'm about to show you the third connection, and it's the one that changes everything. Here it is. The biggest way self-worth controls net worth isn't about spending or earning. It's about what you believe is possible. This is the identity shift, and it's the thing most financial advice completely ignores. Think about it this way. Right now, there's a version of you that lives in your head. This version of you has a certain net worth, a certain career, a certain life. You call this version realistic. But what it really is, it's your current self-worth expressed as a financial number. When that internal number is low, you unconsciously sabotage anything that would push you past it. New opportunities get declined. Investments get avoided. Partnerships never happen. Not because you can't do it, because deep down, you don't think you're the kind of person who gets that. There's a famous study from Northwestern University. Researchers took people with low self-esteem and told half of them they'd be working with someone high in confidence. The other half got no such framing. Then they gave both groups the same task, a math test. The group that was told they'd be working with a confident partner scored 23% lower. They didn't become less smart. They became less themselves. They looked at someone confident and thought, that's not me. And they performed accordingly, 23% on a test, just from feeling less worthy compared to someone else. Now, flip it. When you genuinely believe you're worthy of wealth, things change. Not magically, but consistently. You take the meeting, you make the call, you invest in the course, you start the business, not because you're delusional, because you finally align with what you actually want. Look at the research on lottery winners. Here's the uncomfortable truth. A huge percentage of lottery winners go bankrupt within 5 years. Not because money is evil, because they never did the internal work. They got rich, but their self-worth stayed the same. So the money just reflected back what was already there: confusion, excess, and a deep down feeling that they didn't know how to hold it. On the flip side, look at people who build wealth from nothing. Ramit Sethi, author of I Will Teach You to Be Rich, talks about this constantly. People who actually build lasting wealth aren't special in some genetic money way. They're special in their identity. They see themselves as someone who builds things, someone who negotiates, someone who saves first and spends second. That identity shows up in every financial decision. And over decades, those decisions compound into a completely different life. Here's the thing nobody wants to hear. You can learn every budgeting hack, every investment strategy, every side hustle. And if your self-worth is broken, none of it will stick. The money will leak out as fast as it comes in because you're trying to solve a money problem with money tools. But the problem was never in the spreadsheet. The solution isn't to work harder on your finances. It's to do the internal work. Examine the scripts you've inherited, the beliefs about money you absorbed as a kid, the voice that says you're not good with money, or worse, that you're not the kind of person who gets to have money. That voice is a liar. And once you stop believing it, everything changes. Your spending aligns with your values instead of your fears. Your earning reflects your skills instead of your doubts. Your future opens up. Not because the world changed, because you did. So here's what you take away today. Self-worth and net worth aren't related by coincidence. They are two expressions of the same underlying belief about who you are and what you deserve. If you've been struggling with money and nothing seems to work, look inward, not to blame yourself, but to understand. The path to a better financial life doesn't always start with a better budget. Sometimes it starts with a better conversation with yourself. If this hit different, share it with someone who's been grinding at their finances and can't get ahead, and subscribe. Next week, I'm breaking down the exact money scripts that keep people broke and how to rewrite them. See you then.